something else the media have been flipping out about this last week. The Marilyn Manson case. As we talked about on this channel, Marilyn Manson is suing Evan Rachel Wood and her co-conspirator in the hoax against him, Ilma Gore. And he's also battling several lawsuits from some other women and is basically fighting to get his reputation back. Well, I see that, this week, a number of media outlets hyperventilating over that, because what they're saying is, oh my God, if Johnny Depp got this ruling and he got this kind of positive coverage, what happens if Marilyn Manson expects that he's going to get the same? Oh my God, what happens if Marilyn Manson actually takes these women to trial and they have to sit there and they have to go through all of this and what is the world coming to? You have any
You can
thoughts?
almost see the dawning realization in the eyes of the media that, oh my God, we're going to have to account for that one too.
Exactly. And what's really going to hurt about this from the media's perspective, and from the Me Too perspective, what really hurts about this one is that the Marilyn Manson case is one that does involve multiple women. And, the argument in these types of cases has always been, well, look, maybe you might have one woman, one crazy or vindictive woman making up stuff, but you're not going to have multiple women going after a man. That's just, there's no way that you could have multiple women falsely accusing a man. So what kind of a precedent is this going to be when it is exposed that you actually had an extensive conspiracy with multiple accusers? Like, I don't know, if they're going to be able to handle that one. And already there are people online who are saying there's no way that could be, these crazy Marilyn Manson defenders think that they've got a case, that he's got a case like Johnny Depp. Yeah, he does have a case like Johnny Depp. In fact, you could argue in some ways he has, arguably a stronger case. So
yeah, and I think that's one of the things too, that look for the mismessaging from the media, because they're trying to set up their narrative. They're already entrenching themselves in their position. And an extremely important detail in Marilyn Manson's case that the media is not telling you and is going to have a huge impact here is the fact that it is not primarily a defamation case. There is one defamation claim. It is primarily dealing with Ilma Gore. It's small overall in the context of everything that he is alleging that they have done that's wrongful and tortious. It's an extreme and outrageous conduct case. It is not about they spoke out and publicly accused me. That's really not the point of it. The point of it is they swatted me. They falsely impersonated an FBI officer to pretend that there was some international criminal investigation against me that didn't exist. They hacked my accounts to try to plant illicit pornography on my computers. This is so far above and beyond perpetrating an abuse hoax,
right.
like Amber Heard did, that I just, because I can see how the media pitching it as, oh, he's suing him for defamation, and it's gonna end up being, another Johnny Depp type situation where women are discouraged from coming forward. No, don't fucking swat people. Okay, they just are already shooting themselves in the foot by not being direct and honest about what this case is actually about, what the allegations actually are, what the legal claims are. And it's going to come back and bite them. We can see it from here.
Yeah, and who knows if this trial is going to be televised or not, or streamed. But man, the media is in it for a rude awakening on that one too, because a lot of people don't know anything about the Manson case. All they see is the scary looking rock star who has this bad reputation, and they know that multiple women have accused him. And so for most people, it's still an open and shut case. And when if this trial is televised, or even if it's not, and you have people like me and others hopefully reporting, that I know we're going to be reporting on this, and it's not just me, I know that Umbrella Guys talked about reporting on it, Alita at Legal Bites and some others. You're going to have people really amazed at the amount of evidence that Marilyn Manson has against these women. And, and I hear it's a lot more. I hear through the grapevine that it's a lot more than what's even been presented so far. You know, that what's been presented so far in that lawsuit is just a tiny drop in the bucket.
And it's so damning, so damning.
Exactly. It is. And, you know, and a lot of people don't even seem to know that Marilyn Manson has sued Evan Rachel Wood. I've seen some people commenting online, and even some media outlets saying, well, and now, you know, someone like Marilyn Manson might even sue. Well, actually, hello, he is suing, and he's got, like we've said, he's got a much more extensive case in a lot of ways than Johnny Depp, who was just suing for defamation. One of the things that kind of got lost in the news last week because of the Depp verdict, TMZ reported that LA law enforcement sources told them that there's not going to be a case moving forward on Marilyn Manson. You know, LA authorities, the LASD, cops, district attorney, all of them have been looking into Manson. You know, they raided his house months ago, or seized his devices. I think I'm not sure if they still have the device. But anyway, seized the devices, looked through all the stuff. Anyway, they are not going to be moving forward with a case against Manson. He's not going to be charged. And according to TMZ's law enforcement sources, they said it was due to, quote, credibility problems with the victim. Now, that's, you know, I tend to believe that because when I talked to an LASD detective several months ago, and I talked about this on my channel at the time, you know, that was the sense that I was getting. That was the impression that I was getting from some of the information that he was wanting from me, is that they were aware that there are problems with the accuser's testimony in this, and that they were researching. They were researching the truth. They were looking into the truth, and actually, that's why the detective wanted to talk to me, is he wanted to talk to a couple of the witnesses that I've had on my channel talking about the real Marilyn Manson. And anyway, my point is, you know, I think it's interesting how Evan Rachel Wood has been, for months now, has been pounding the drums on social media and in her documentary, trying to get people, her followers, outraged and to call and harass the LASD detectives, the cops, and the district attorney. She even posted on her Instagram stories to all of her followers, please, if you're outraged about the lack of action on Brian Warner's case, please call the police, call the DA, tell them to do this. Well, also in her documentary, Phoenix Rising, she complained several times about the fact that the investigation was going so slow and law enforcement was basically dragging its feet and all that. I just have to wonder if law enforcement got tired of being depicted that way, you know, as the gang that couldn't shoot straight and not on top of things and slow and corrupt and all of that. And they decided, okay, we're going to leak this. And not only are we going to leak this information, but we're going to leak it during the week of the Depp verdict, so that people will already have the Amber Heard thing in their minds, and they'll look at this news and they'll say, oh, okay, basically they're not pursuing charges because this is another Amber Heard case. I really think the timing is interesting, and I think it's interesting that law enforcement has allowed this to stand. This quote by TMZ, I think that they stand behind it, and I think it just shows us where their head is at, and probably that law enforcement have not appreciated Evan Rachel Wood depicting them in the way that she has recently.
Well, I think what you have to take from it, I think the timing is interesting as well. But I think what you necessarily have to take from it is that at least somebody at LAPD came out of this with sympathy for Marilyn Manson, appreciating the fact that he has been so publicly disparaged and hasn't been able to respond. He's necessarily on the back foot when it comes to these accusations. And so it's a very small thing that somebody at the LAPD can do to try to even the playing field back to where maybe he has a fair chance at getting depicted reasonably in the media. Now, of course, you and I know that's not going to happen. But it does show, I think, that after having gone through all of this investigation, like you said, looking through his devices, I mean, these are very intrusive investigations. They know so much about Brian Warner at this point in time, and they came out of it on his side, believing him, sympathizing with him, at least enough to want to allow this type of public statement to be out there. Well, I think something I'd like to ask is Johnny Depp is clearly on a victory tour right now. We're seeing all this coverage of him playing with Jeff Beck, massive crowds cheering for him, coming out to meet him. It's like being back in the old days. So he's really experiencing this resurgence and this rehabilitation. And I'm wondering what your thoughts are on him bringing that to support his friend Marilyn Manson, who I think we saw supported Johnny at least
He did.
behind the scenes, with his trial. Of course, he was a witness in the Thanksgiving of 2015.
Well, and
But it's a
Manson had come out and had said that Johnny Depp had been unfairly crucified, and did defend him a bit. Go on.
Mhm.
Sorry.
Yeah, and so he could have potentially been helpful in Johnny Depp's case, but I think they have to make strategic decisions about how to appeal for the jury, and part of the goal here has been Marilyn Manson is radioactive, so they can't call him as a witness, and then Amber Heard's just going to name drop him, every opportunity that she gets, so he can be the boogeyman that isn't present. Johnny Depp now isn't going to have that taint nearly to the extent that they had to be concerned about with Marilyn Manson. So, what, if any, role do you see him playing in Marilyn Manson also being able to start pursuing this type of public vindication?
Well, that's a tough one, and it's a tough one because I'm not sure that what I'm going to say is that the Johnny Depp fans are gonna necessarily like it, because I'm not sure it paints him in the best light. I think that what would be the noble thing, and the thing that I would hope that someone who has just been through this kind of bullshit and knows how awful it is and how unfair it is, I think that the noble thing to do would be for Johnny Depp to, in some way, speak out for or signal his support for Marilyn Manson. However, that is a lot to ask a man who has had basically almost his entire life or livelihood taken away from him, and probably is feeling shell shocked, and probably, what other metaphors, gun shy, or whatever metaphors I can come up with. And I think it is a lot to ask.
Battle weary.
Yes, battle weary, and also, let's be honest, maybe not entirely out of the woods yet.
Yeah.
And it's a lot to ask for that person to then go out on a limb to defend someone that everyone thinks of is Satan incarnate. So while I would hope that Johnny Depp would grab it and stand up for his friend, I also recognize that that's a lot to ask. And if I were in the situation, who knows what I would do. So what I would guess, I think that we've gotten the most that we're going to get for a while out of Johnny Depp in that letter that he posted. And he didn't name Manson, but in his statement, he did say that I hope that all of those who find themselves in a similar situation to the situation I was in, being falsely accused, will continue to fight, and that people will continue to fight for them. I'm sure that was Johnny Depp's attempt to support Manson in a more subtle way.